Hey everyone, it's been a long time since I made a video for the Haven for Heroes channel. You know, me and Steve here have been talking about the state of comics, talk about where we're at, what I see happening, what I might have heard. There's rumors out there. Marvel seems to be just shuffling the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Are they sinking? No, Marvel's not going anywhere. They're owned by Disney. They got plenty of money in the background. But when a company moves away from a for-profit, if you actually did the math of all the people that work for Marvel and all the people that work for DC, how many issues they're actually selling, what their actual margins are on those issues, I don't know. I've been doing the math in my head. I don't think they could be making, I don't think they're making any money. I've talked about this before, but let's say they were making $1 million a month. I don't think they're making anything, but let's say it's $1 million. Let's give them that $1 million. That'd be $12 million a year. Do you know what that means to the corporation Disney or the corporation Time Warner? Nothing. It's not. One of their CEOs makes more than that. It doesn't even pay like some of their top executives. But the characters, the intellectual property is what these big companies wanted. But they've lost sight of how they can make money in publishing to have it self-sustained so you aren't constantly firing people. The rate of pay is so low that, you know, artists and writers have to go do independent work. They have to try to get screenplays sold. They're trying to do commercial art. They're having to go to every convention, every tiny convention around the country to try to sell their art for $50. It's insane, right? They need to find the model that made comics money. For me, everything old is new, retro is in. Let's bring back real ads to comic books, right? Let's have a real sales team that goes out and get advertisers. They're not gonna be the same advertisers you used to get in comic books. And the ads, because the number of the print run is so much smaller, the cost can't be what it used to be. But you know, they're forever ads. Because people collect comics and keep them, those ads never go away. I mean, when was the last time you seen a Hasbro ad? The only toy company ad you ever see in a comic book anymore is Todd McFarlane Toys, because they're in Spawn books and they're in other Image books. And again, that's just shuffling money, right? In DC and in Marvel, the ads you see are usually ads for their movies. Sometimes they're doing, like Chevy's doing an Iron Man vehicle, or it was Hyundai, I think, who was doing it. They did an Iron Man car. And you'll see that, and that's kind of like a cooperative advertisement that the car company's gonna make cars that are branded with Iron Man, and then they're gonna put some ads in the comics. That's not real revenue. The bean counters think it's real revenue, and that's how they count it, and that's how they show it, but it's not real revenue. We need real people putting down real dollars in advertising for comics that goes to pay the artist and goes to pay the writer, that they go out and they pay good editors to do the work, and they don't keep just shuffling this whole group around and bringing in people that aren't doing what they should be doing. It's my take on that. There's a lot of companies that would probably be interested in advertising in comics at a much lower rate. Comics are about 24 pages. The stories are usually 18 to 22. So there's usually between, not counting the back of the comic, not counting the front inside of the comic, there's usually 4 to 6 pages of advertising that can be done. If you did that at $5,000, and to big corporations, $5,000 for a full page ad is nothing. That's $20,000. If you just gave 10 to the artist and 10 to the writer, the book then costs you nothing for your artist and your writer, increasing your profit margin. You could pay them maybe half of that. That would even be really great pay for some of these guys. Or 8 to the artist and 5 to the writer. And then the rest would cover the printing cost, and then your profit. There's a ton of different ways this business could be profitable that I think that they don't care. that the business is profitable or not. I think that they felt that the cost of the sales teams that sold the ads in comics was too high. I think you could automate a lot of the process. You could have somebody overlooking it with just a few sales representatives where you could cover all of that cost. That's one tiny thing. The other thing is that if you're a local comic shop, you know how many people came in to buy those Fortnite books just because of the codes. Whether they ever got read or not, who knows? But I got about 10 people to come in that had never been inside a comic shop to order the entire series to make sure that they got all the codes. You know how many phone app games there are that would love to put a code in a DC comic or a Marvel comic? Or hell, even an independent comic? Because the microtransaction game is just phenomenally profitable. To do a different skin, you know, monthly, or something themed towards the book or the company, you don't have to make it like a one-time use code, so that that book, as it's out there, again, I said it's a forever ad. So anybody picks that book up 10 months from now, they can scan the code and start playing the game tomorrow. They have to solidify the publishing side of comics so that comics stay into the long future. Everybody said comics will never die. I agree with that. But it might morph into a place that none of us like. It might be so different that none of us even recognize it. And I don't want that to happen. I constantly have anybody's ear that I can bend, I bend. When I go to conventions, I talk to artists, I talk to writers, and they're in conversations with DC and Marvel. And maybe if they think the idea is good enough, maybe they'll pass it on. Maybe it'll move up. Maybe it goes nowhere. Maybe they just think I'm just some crackpot. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep saying it over and over again. But I'm telling you that the sales in the 9 years that I've been doing it are phenomenally lower on new books than they've ever been. There's less new people coming into comics at any age, and especially at the young age. Young kids need something identifiable. They need characters they know. Licensed characters in children's books sell for me way better than, I mean, I gotta give a shout out to Scout. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of their books, but at least, you know, they're trying to do a children's, you know, imprint under Scoot. I've read the books, they're good. They're a tough sell to a little kid. They don't know the character. It's weird, kids are very negative. They don't have a positive reaction when you say, hey, this is really cool, you should read it. Adults do. They know you, you know, kids are taught to be afraid of strangers, so they come into the shop, they don't know you. When you say, hey, this is cool, you should read this, they're like, I don't know who that character is, and no, I disagree with you, I don't think he's cool. But if you hand them a Sonic, they know Sonic. They're like, oh yeah, Sonic is cool, right? And then, you know, down the road, you can introduce them to a character they're not familiar with once they've been introduced to it. But we need, you know, that Spider-Man book that Marvel was doing for the new Spider-Man, the Disney Plus show, Spidey Friends, or I don't know the name of it. I'm not 7 anymore. So, but man, that book sold off the rack for me. And when I went to buy more, they were out. So, 1, it's a great seller. 2, it was selling out where you weren't having to warehouse it. What are we gonna do? We're gonna stop printing it. Not gonna make it anymore. You have the synergy between the television show, the book is selling, but we're not gonna carry it anymore. I don't understand their thinking and where they're going. You wanna get views on a television show. If kids don't currently watch it, the comic could get them into watching it. And then you have a comic book, if kids aren't reading it, you have a show that they may go out and want to buy it when they see it because they watch the show. To me, I don't understand. It just seems like it's such an easy connection. And I'm going way out and I'm going really long. But I think DC is on a good trajectory. I think it started with Night Terrors. That sold really well for me. I sold out of almost every issue. I didn't bring a lot in, but a sellout is incredible. There's a lot of interest in the new reboot. The Wonder Woman, I've had a few people subscribe to, and some of the new Green Lantern book with Jon Stewart. Not Jon Stewart. believe it's James Stewart. Yeah, I'm getting old. That book has had a lot of interest, and some of the other Bat books. Sadly, Superman still hasn't gotten any interest, but that's neither here nor there. The Marvel books, man, they're just so slow, and they're really trying to work, like, sell on, hey, we got a new character, hey, we got a new character. Not like, hey, we're writing really good stories. Our stories are really intriguing, and they're captivating, and the art is amazing. Because neither of those things are true. You got a couple of guys that are doing really good work over there. Zdarsky, of course, on Daredevil. Pepos, they ended Savage Avengers, but he's moved over to Punisher, and I'm sure he's gonna kill it on Punisher. He did an amazing annual for Hulk. You know, they really need to give him a ton of work. He does good stuff. Don Slott, solid writer. He's gonna pull your regular, you know, every month. But for the most part, on the other stuff, Donny Cates is not getting any follow through. I think he's not even writing anything currently. They need to get it together, especially for the X books. The experiments they tried last year and the year before didn't work. So I see actually DC, who has been in a horrible trajectory. The distribution, I don't use Penguin anymore. The free shipping, yeah, that's great and all, but sometimes books don't show up that I ordered, and they're not even on my order sheet. Like, so somewhere on the computer, they just deleted my order. Well, I contact them, I say, hey, I ordered the book, and they're like, well, it's not on your order. So I can't even like claim it's a shortage because it says I never ordered. I didn't get any of the Wolverine Ghost Rider alphas, and I know I ordered at least 3 of them. I didn't get any. And I look on my order sheet and it's not on my order sheet. And then I only got 1 from Diamond because they were allocated. So that's a mess. I'm doing all my Marvel through Diamond. Listen for all the bad things they say about Diamond. I'm sticking, you know, I'm gonna be true blue by them. They really have the comic book shops, comic book readers. They're really comic-centric people. Some of the business practices, you know, that's why we have retailers conventions and stuff and try to get them to get better and change stuff. That's what you do. I mean, the mess we have now, it makes ordering difficult. It makes subscribers complain about not getting the books they wanted because the way the ordering happens. I'm having difficulty with it. I'm sure LCSs that have, you know, 15 people working there may not be, but for a small shop, it's a pain. Reordering from Penguin and Lunar is terrible. You have no idea what their backstock is. They have no, well, Penguin has this big sheet that says backlist, and you go into it, and I've ordered books from their backlist, and then I get a message 2 weeks later that says, oh, we don't have any of that book. It was on your back issue list, like you said you had them. Oh yeah, we don't. So I don't even do that anymore because it happened 3 times in a row. 3 strikes, you're out. So now I just try and hope that Diamond has a few left over because damages weren't heavy on the book or something. So that's the state of that. I think a lot of dealers are moving away from Penguin unless, you know, maybe they're doing enough that they're getting some better service or an actual sales representative. I don't know how much you have to spend to get one of those, but I don't. Same at Lunar, I don't have a representative. I'm going to the Lunar breakfast, fingers crossed, because it's at the River Pavilion and you have to go get your pass on on Wednesday for New York Comic Con. So I have to drive into the city to do that or stay over the Wednesday night into Thursday. I don't know. I want to go to it. I desperately want to go to the Lunar breakfast because they said they have a lot of announcements and some changes and stuff. So I'm dying to see that. And I'm going to bring all that to you, and we can talk about it, and, you know, leave us some comments. Especially if you're another comic shop, let's not keep all this stuff a secret. You know, there's some stuff that needs to be the secret sauce to how you run your business. I don't need to know that stuff. For me, I put it all out on blast because to me, this business is a community business. If people like you in your store and you get them the comics they want, they'll come and spend the money with you. I don't have to have some kind of crazy exclusive plan and all this underground stuff. So, you know what I say? Keep reading comics.